Many model truck projects start with inspiration from a single photo, and that was definitely the case with this Kenworth log hauler, which I wanted to try recreating in 1/25th scale after seeing this picture. When reading through this book by Ron Adams, featuring a wide selection of Kenworth trucks from 1950 up to 1979. This book was first published by Iconografix back in 2005. And since this model project started back in 2012, long before Round 2's reissue of the Kenworth W925 kit, I started with an original issue version of it. I posted in-progress pictures of the project back in 2012 on a forum which was active at the time called Timber Industry Modelers. Members of the forum were very helpful with information, including a suggestion to extend the wheelbase, which I extended out to 245 inches using styrene strips. Top corner of the battery box cover in the prototype photo looked to be a larger radius than the square-cornered part supplied in the AMT kit. Corners of the kit battery box cover were sanded to a larger radius, and a piece of 016 sheet aluminum was formed to make a new battery box cover. Handles were formed from 032 brass wire and glued into holes drilled in the battery box cover. Aluminum is a soft enough metal it can be easily drilled by hand using a pin vise. Air tanks were made from styrene tube, as this was easier than filling and sanding seams on the two-piece kit parts. Brackets are 100th styrene angle, which was clamped to a form and then heated and cooled. 20th styrene rod was used to simulate the wire hold-down clamps. The kit supplied rear suspension and wheels were replaced with resin items from Canadian parts manufacturer Plaskit, using rubber block Hendrickson suspension and 5-hole steel disc wheels all around. As model projects sometimes do, this one went from active to inactive status a few times, after initially starting in January of 2012. Here's how it looked after being parked for a while in July of 2013, ready for installation of the log hauling equipment. This was sourced from the AMT logging trailer kit, with the tractor-mounted log bunk being built and assembled per the log trailer kit instructions, and log trailer kit parts were also used for the frame steps and pintle hitch. Styrene tube was used for the stinger extension, following information found on the Timber Industry Modelers forum. Kit mirror brackets were replaced with parts soldered up from 032 brass wire, and the mirror heads and turn signal are items found in the parts box. I don't know which kit the turn signal lights came from, but I believe the mirror heads were sourced from the mirrors supplied in the snap kit version of the Kenworth Aerodyne conventional. AMT's Kenworth kit bumper was used, with square holes filled in, spotlight holes drilled out, sanded thinner for more realistic cross-section, and separate fastener heads added. The spotlights themselves are the optional ones in the kit, supplied on the chrome parts tree. At this stage, the truck is ready for the painting process to begin, which started with Testors Dark Red on the required areas of the hood and cab. The trailer was assembled largely as per the kit instructions, with safety chains for the stinger connection being made from the oversized chain supplied in AMT's flatbed trailer kits. I did solder up a brass pintle ring in place of the kit's plastic part, and styrene sheet and angle mudflaps were added to the tractor. A simple coat of paint makes a huge difference in realism, with primer gray on the wheels and semi-gloss black on the truck frame and trailer. Red areas were masked, and dark gray was sprayed on the hood, cab, and bumper. I had a small sheet of thin embossed checker plate metal on hand. I don't know the origin of this product, but it was a perfect item to add to the battery box and step. Individual decal letters were used on the cab doors. using both a photo in the book as reference and also information from members on the Timber Industry Modelers Forum. Color separation between the gray and red was largely done with individual strips cut from white decal paper, but some of the curved areas this wasn't possible, and as you can see here on the hood, this was touched up by hand using a fine paintbrush. Using a Detroit diesel engine, which was sourced from an AMT Type 90 kit, was purely guesswork and may not be the correct choice, but it was based on the truck having twin stacks. The exhaust pipes are a combination of kit items and stretch parts runner. The stack visible on the left side has visibly been damaged, with the tip being flattened. And I tried to replicate this using aluminum tube. Stack mounts were also scratch built from 20 thou brass wire and styrene strip. And on the opposite side of the cab, the stack was modeled as having been broken off. The sun visor was formed from 016 sheet aluminum, and chrome was represented by using chrome mylar tape for the air cleaner mounting bands, and Alclad for all of the other surfaces. A Kenworth detail that AMT does not supply in the W925 kits is the marker light above the headlights. These are represented using parts from a spare AMT Louisville kit. Weathering on the lower portions of running gear and along the frame was done with washes in a variety of earth and rust colors. Wipers are a notable feature on these Kenworth W900s, and on this truck, the passenger side wiper appears to be parked out of position. The kit's molded-on wipers were removed, and replacements were made from styrene strip, installed to match the positions in the prototype photo. The hard hat, just visible on the passenger seat, is another resin item from Plaskit. Logs were made from wood dowels, sanded to a slight taper using a coarse grit belt sander, and with bark texture scored into them with an old sawzall blade. Minwax wood finishes provide the bark coloration, and the whole process was based on an old model railroader article from back in the 70s, in which balsa wood was used to make pine trees by sanding it to a taper, scoring bark texture with a razor saw, and using stain to provide bark coloration. Same process, just heavier duty tools in 1/25th scale. Here's a closer view of the bark texture and coloration. The chain is another model railroad item, 27 links per inch and pre-blackened, made by A-Line products, and the chain binders are scratch built from styrene strip, with the hooks formed from copper wire, flattened, and filed to shape. And the completed model, photographed in mid-February of 2015. Just over 2 years on the calendar, although it wasn't 2 years of steady work, as it did spend a number of periods of time parked upon the bench waiting its turn. I still have this one in the collection. Thanks for joining me at this look back at the past, and the model that was built just over 10 years ago.